Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? I hope you all can hear me. This is Karen Ray with OptionVue, and James Hogan is on with me. I hope, James, why don't you chime in here so that we can see if everybody can hear you as well.
Yep. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Essentials here. It's the first time Karen and I have done this before, so bear with us.
Yeah, this is like breaking new ground here because we both are going to try today to share each of our own desktops with you and kind of use this as a teaching session. This should be for mostly, I hope, new people coming in with wanting to do trials of the software, learning kind of as beginners more than advanced people with the software and with demonstrating just a few features in the software. We don't want to get very complicated today, so that's what we're attempting to do. I don't know if we're going to be able to go the whole hour, but if you guys have a lot of questions, we're going to pay closer attention to the questions today, I hope. And so be thinking of questions that you can ask us as we go through, okay? So I think to start with, I wanted to show the kind of work in progress, the WIP, as we call it, and it's not been released yet, but this is a work in progress of our brand new online help, which will be released, I hope, very soon, within the next 2-3 weeks. And our current help is in the OptionVue program in the word help, but our new help is going to be, I'll give you the website that you need to type. It's OptionVue.info/help. And let's see if I can bring that up. Here it is. And see, I've kind of, can you see my desktop? And it says OptionVue.info/help.
Yep, looks good.
Okay. And then let me move this recording button down. Can you see my recording button in the lower corner? I hope not. Okay. All right, so we've got our brand new user's guide help section. A lot of it's still the same, but a lot of it has changed. The contents are showing the user's guide and the glossary. I'll start just by showing a little bit of the glossary. If you want to try and find a term or a terminology, since this is going to be an educational webinar for you, you can see what the definitions are within OptionVue more so than within the options realm itself. For example, a calendar spread. We've got the simultaneous purchase and sale of options of the same type with different expiration dates. In our trade finder, this would include the strategies horizontal debit, horizontal credit, diagonal debit, and diagonal credit. So there's your definition of calendar spread within the OptionVue program. Let's move down, and I actually wanted to show butterfly later. So butterfly is a strategy involving 4 contracts of the same type at 3 different strike prices. A long butterfly involves buying the lowest strike, selling double the quantity at the central strike, and buying the highest strike. All options are on the same underlying, meaning Apple or Spider or Netflix, in the same expiration. This is a strategy available in the trade finder. So there you go. You've got a way to kind of go through here, scroll through alphabetically to see any terminology. So we've got mid-implied volatility is computed based on the midpoint between the bid and the ask prices. So in our terminology, MIV stands for mid-implied volatility. All right, so that gives you some idea of the glossary. I want to look at the index, and there's a lot of really cool words here that you can use for looking things up. Most people don't know what grouping items means in the index. Let's see what that says. Not yet. We're still working on that one. Okay. How about format? I guess some of these are still works in progress. Okay, so I think for the most part that's not been published yet. Let's go to search, and under search We can type all kinds of things. The things that kind of distinguish us in OptionVue as opposed to some of the broker platforms, one of the big things that distinguishes us would be the Greeks. The Greeks would be delta, gamma, theta, and vega. And the delta is explained, the definition, gamma, theta, and vega. Our Greeks actually take especially in delta, a shift of volatility into account. And we actually talk about this. The delta displayed is based on your choice of true or standard delta. So true delta would be including a shift of volatility. Another thing we might want to type in is, well, we just mentioned the word volatility. Let's type that one in. And we've got a lot of great, too many things actually to look up that all have to do with volatility settings, volatility parameters, the uniform model, the manual skew model. Let's take a look at the volatility button. And this shows the volatility area under model volatility in OptionVue. And we can see what it says about the matrix volatility. So we've got some things that we can look at and review down here and explanations of things. So this is going to be your teacher, everybody. I mean, this is going to be a great way to get a beautiful education on the package itself, on the software itself, by reading a lot of the things about it in the search area. I'm going to also type professional version, or just professional, and kind of see what comes up. These are the things that set our program apart. We have a higher end version for $300 extra. It doesn't have to necessarily be for market makers or hedge fund managers or money managers, but it can be. It is mostly for them. It can also be for you as a retail client, although I do have quite a few people managing other people's monies. And if we look up the professional version, these are some of the things that set the professional version apart. We've got a manual skew, which means that you can actually come in here and type in your own volatility for any strike and set the volatility measurements that the program will then use. Another thing we've got is, I know we've got value sheets, which are theoretical values that are computed out in the future based on spreads and straddles and strangles. We will actually compute a combined volatility in the professional version. So for $300 more, you guys can get some of these really cool features in the professional version. Okay, another thing that sets us apart from brokerage platform uses is the CEV. Probably most of you have heard of CEV, but you don't know what it is. So here we can find out what it is. On the right side of the Settings tab is your CEV modeling information. CEV stands for Constant Elasticity of Volatility. And this refers to the observed tendency for volatility to go up or down as the price of the underlying asset goes up or down. We have what's called the CEV effect. And Len, our president and CEO, has spent tons of time working on the CEV effect, the modeling of it, and the computation of it, and then we keep it up to date. It says OptionVue automatically receives up-to-date CEV factors each time you open a matrix. You can manually change the CEV if you know how or know what the number should be, but normally you don't want to do that. So we've spent a lot of time on this, and you need to become aware of CEV and what it means and how it affects the outcomes of the values in the program. Okay? I don't want to take up too much more time, but one more thing maybe here. Let's do graphic analysis. See what we get for that. Lots of things. Let me pick something out here, just graphic analysis. That one's not too finished yet. So there are some things that are in here, detailed analysis. The detailed analysis is actually a little button that breaks down that you can see off of the graphic analysis screen. And then that shows you more details in the program. So check these things out. These are really great things to learn about and understand.
That Ross Rubenstein real quick there. This is, this is one of my go-to.
I don't see this here, James.
Way down at the bottom there.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, it gets really advanced when you start getting in here and talking about the different modeling and things like that. And honestly, sometimes I get questions that I haven't had in, 6 months. Well, I'll have to go back here and myself and find the good definition. So this is a really, really nice and easy, quick place to go to type in your search topic, and bam, here comes a bunch of answers and definitions for you of what you're looking for. So it's a great resource.
Yeah.
And learning tool.
I just had a guy this week that's asked me, what is the difference between the Yates model, which is the default in OptionVue, and the Cox-Ross-Rubenstein? And I told him that the Cox-Ross-Rubenstein is a binomial model. It's very, very accurate, and it takes hundreds of times longer than the Black-Scholes model to compute the fair value of an option, so that's why people don't use it too much. But the Yates model combines the speed of the Black-Scholes with the accuracy of the Cox-Ross-Rubenstein, so that's why it's a really great combinational model that you can, that'll be used by default.
Right.
Do you want me to show anything else in here, James, or do you want to take over if I can make this successfully happen and show the back trader?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take over. So just go ahead and pass the
pass the baton. Let's see. How do I do this?
I'll take off over on the participant screen.
Okay, stop sharing. Okay, now pass the baton. I'm passing the privileges.
Got it. Now you guys should see my OptionVue coming up here.
And you hit the recording, right?
No, we're still recording, I believe. Yeah, we're still
okay.
Good. So what I wanted to talk about now? So that's a good resource to go. As maybe you're watching some of the tutorial videos, and someone, Steve or myself or somebody uses a term you're not familiar with, you can kind of pause the recording, go to that help.info, and search that topic, or go in the glossary and see what we're referencing there. It's actually interesting because I got a email today, just an inquiry, someone thinking about getting a trial, asking me, how can OptionVue be used as to teach me about options. And I thought that was awesome. I try to express that to people that are just starting out too, that it's a great tool for doing that. People sometimes think that it's complex, but it doesn't have to be. You can start off with OptionVue and get backtrader, which gives you 30-minute delayed data on all the U.S. exchanges, futures, and all the options that go along with them as well. And then you can we saved all that data going back to January 2001. And all you need to do when you first get OptionVue, you're going to have like a sample account up here. It says sample. That doesn't mean you have a sample version of OptionVue. All it means is that you haven't created your own account yet. And you would do that by clicking on the info button here. And then clicking on, these are all the accounts I have set up. Some are real, some I've done back tests on, some I just start to do an example like I'm going to do now. I would click on this new account button here and title it whatever you want to title it, and we'll just say do education webcast. And if it was one of these accounts, you would click on one of these buttons here, but it's not. So I'm just going to hit OK. It's going to ask me, when do I want this account to start? So let's say that I want to really practice. I want to go back a year and really practice and see how one strategy I read in a book or I learned about, or doing cover calls, or anything you want to do, and test out some strategies, you'll be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and type in, roughly a year ago, let's just say I started out with $20,000, and I would go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to start this account. My new educational webcast account is started. If you want to have commissions in your valuations when you're going through here, you can go in here and set those up if you want to. You can always add them back manually as well. Okay, so now you can see up the top here that I'm in my education webcast account. Okay, and what I would do then is just click on this Net View button here at the top, and then click on Back Trader. And whenever I'm in Back Trader mode, I would keep this window open. Okay, and then you can put any date in here that you want to. As you can see, going back to 2001, January 1st. And I'm just going to type on the day I opened this account out, or I started this account here just a moment ago. So I'm going to start here. And now what happens is the entire OptionVue system here is going to think that it's this date and time. All the prices I have here in my quotes display, anytime I open up an options chain, it's going to pull data from this particular half an hour on January 15th. So if we click on next to my info button is my transaction log. This is what's going to do all the paper trading for you basically and keep track of it. You can see that this is recorded that on the 15th today I deposited $20,000 in this account, and I'm ready to start back testing. Okay. So we can see here where the prices of everything. We should have bought some Tesla back then. I think Tesla's like right around 180 right now. But if you were to double click on Tesla here, you're going to see these are the options that we're trading back on January 15th last year. Okay, and you'd be able to actually put on a mock trade, and you would do that in the trade field here. So if I was, going to go long a call, I could analyze what it would look like. Okay, and let's say I was going to do, let's just say I was going to do go long a call here, and I would convert the trade. Always convert the trade. Moves over to existing position. Okay, and now if you look at my transaction log, you can see that there it is. I bought this on this date, this time, for this price. Okay, and then the S is going to move you by half an hour. The D will move you by day. I'm just going to do a quick example here because we're going to talk about Trade Finder, but then I give it a chance for this little updating window over here. Once it's complete, okay, now we have actually moved to Friday 3 days later here, okay, and we can see down at the bottom that I'm actually up $7 on this position, not including commissions on this. Okay. You can go ahead and analyze your position as you would if you were using OptionVue in real time here. Okay. So what you would do in essence is you could put spreads on, you could put calendars on, whatever kind of a strategy or time frame you wanted to put your trades on. I mean, you could put them out in longer periods of time, however you wanted to do it. And again, these Trade Finder does also work in back trader mode as well. So if you wanted to back test some of the Trade Finder strategies that I gave you, you could do that as well. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But you would actually, and then let's say, I wanted to take my profit off of this. Not that I would yet, but I would then put the opposite trade in, convert the trade, and you're going to see that now it's gone. I can then click on my transaction log, and you'll see that now I bought one on the 15th, sold it back on the 18th, and now I don't have any other positions on now.
So where does it show that profit or loss after the T-long?
Sure. You could actually click on your reports button here. Status is going to show you what your total buying power is. If you had multiple positions on, it's going to show you basically where you're at right now.
Like with open positions, you mean?
Correct, open positions,
okay.
Right. If you click on reports here, this is going to create some really, really nice reports for you. It's going to show you unrealized, realized. You can see I made my $7 we were just talking about here. Once I have a long history of trades here, I'm going to actually show you an account that I did some back testing a while back here. Let's see if I can find something.
I have to say, too, while we're waiting here, that James has actually used the program, and now he's trading himself because, not only because he works here, but because, he's gotten the education by using the software to start making trades. And he's done exceptionally well for just trading for a short time. I don't know, what, a year or so you've been trading?
Yeah,
something like that?
Just over a year. Yep.
So, this is, you can teach yourself and get training yourself, and then you can also take advantage of our mentoring courses that we're offering through discoveroptions.com. And that's another way to get speed up the learning curve, basically. So, and this is great. See what kind of back testing he's done? My goodness.
Yeah, this is some back testing. This is back when Apple Weeklies first were coming out. Well, actually, they had been out for a year. So I went back to 2011. I was just trying to find the date because when I click on my reports button here, you can see you can set the in an account, you can say, okay, if you had done a lot of back testing, you can do snapshots of every 6 months, whatever you want to do there. So I'm just going to go back to 2011 and hit enter here so we can see. And there we go. So what my period was when I actually had ended the back test. So basically what I did, I was doing some kind of looks like a credit spread I was doing here on Apple Weeklies every week. And basically what I did, I went out every week. I did kind of the same day of the week. I would put my trade on, and then I would either let it expire or take it off. And then, once you did a strategy like this, and this was a year. I did this every week. As you can see, I started this, March, right around when the weeklies first came out for Apple. March of 2011, I did all the way through until end of March of 2012. And, once you go through and you stick to these rules and you do the same thing, you can then go back and do a variation and say, what if I would have put this on a day earlier, or took it off a day earlier, or used a different, went out a little further in time. However you want to change the variables, you can go back. I would name this vertical credit spread Apple Weekly, and then title it with, a certain a character or name, so that you know that, okay, this is a different variation of the same strategy if you wanted to. And the other thing, these are all, OptionVue is very Excel friendly, and you can print these things out. A lot of people do this for money managers or financial advisors use OptionVue a lot in order to kind of demonstrate what positions are going to look like, or show them a performance history of a strategy they're trying to get them involved with. You can backtest anything that you came across in a book, as long as you've got some rules to base the foundation on. Then this is one of my favorite parts to look at when I'm doing a backtest, is that it'll say what your original investment was, total gains, losses, how long. This period of time isn't accurate because we're going through to right now. This would really only be about a year, 365 days, but it shows you the number of winning trades, percent winners, largest. So it gives you a nice summary and a breakdown of some of the information. And I know Steve Lentz, our educational director over here, was always one to say we're always trying to shoot for a 70% winners or better to be on track to a good system. So once and I did this a couple times, but this is just the original strategy I tested. I went back a couple times and went through here, and this really probably took me about 3 hours to do this, a whole year's worth of back testing. And it doesn't take long before you get familiar with it, and you're able to kind of move pretty quickly with your back tests. So
then did you do some trades, James? Did you actually make some real trades then as a result of this back testing?
Of this back testing, no, I really didn't. I have done some weekly trades in Apple, but not in this particular, not what I was doing here.
Not with that test, okay.
Not with this test, no. So, but a really great tool and a great product, and BackTrader is actually a really big part of our mentoring program, because you have to go back and they want you to do homework, and you're doing it through back testing, and you're paper trading before you're got to learn to crawl before you can walk and run here. So that's why we put such emphasis on the BackTrader.
Do we have any questions at all? Because I can't see the question screen. Or
yeah, let me look real quick.
Can you see
here.
the question screen? See if anybody's got anything.
Yeah. No, we don't have anything yet. And go ahead and type something in if anybody has any questions here. We're not really diving into BackTrader a ton. If you go to, let me
show them.
I want to show you.
Show the tutorial webinars.
Yeah, our resources here.
How about company homepage?
And you can just go to,
Option.
Oh, there
they are.
Yeah, go to OptionVue.com and you'll click on, this is our old page here. Here's what our support page will look like. But if you're just on our home page here, click here for a trial. Underneath our phone number, you'll see support. And then right down the bottom here, pretty soon our online help system will be right here for you to access what Karen was showing you there. But and if, we have PDFs if you like looking through a user manual there. But OptionVue recordings right here is where this webcast we're doing today will be recorded under OptionVue Essentials. I just clicked on the OptionVue Essentials tab there, and then you can see if you're looking for one in particular. Jim Graham, he will definitely go really in depth here when I actually just sent this one out to somebody that was asking me about the volatility skew, wanted to see the smile in OptionVue. Really advanced question. I don't get that very much, but I said, hey, I showed him where to go, and I said, if you're into that kind of stuff, this one is going to be one for you. I'm going to click on this real quick. I'm not going to play it, but you can see down here.
So that would be for listening to the volatility, how the volatility model works. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah. The topics included why the how and why of combined call put skew is manual skewing, which is the pro version only. CEV factor, all stuff Karen and I kind of will tell you.
Oh, we just covered that.
We'll mention it to you, but we're not going to go in and demonstrate and explain it like Jim is going to be able to do.
No, that's a great webinar then, as kind of an adjunct to this webinar.
Yeah, so this is, he dives in here for a full hour. I think he might even go over here an hour, but because it's such in-depth into OptionVue, really diving into the modeling there, explaining the
the spread window too.
And the spread window too. Yeah. So this is where I always guide people. This little how-to section here are real quick how-tos. Jeremy's done a good job of creating these here.
So these are the mini ones that are sort of similar to the TOS ones, where they do like a 5 to 10 minute clip.
Yeah. Yep. Real short how-tos.
Okay.
This is a great place to go to.
But
also,
for those with ADD, they can come here. Attention deficit. Okay.
Yep. And then these are done by Steve Lentz. These are the when you see the OptionVue 7 tutorials. This is kind of a long walkthrough that Steve has done about walking you through the entire system. Okay.
So these are for people who have 6 kids, like Steve does, who have long patience and a lot of
right. And
what patience.
Right. What Karen and I try to do is we try to do every once in a while we'll go back and start over from the beginning, getting started. This is what I did a month ago. Just we're going to start off like you are brand new to OptionVue, and this is how to set up your slippage, how to set up your matrix, those kind of things. But then I'll jump over and last week I did just showing you some specific items or modules in OptionVue.
Yeah, I'm glad you showed that last week on the Trade Monster. That's a brokerage connection. We're going to be hooking up to them in the next upgrade, and so that'll be automatic order execution from within OptionVue into Trade Monster. So that was great that you showed the kind of a preview of that, right?
Yep.
Good.
And so that's what I was initially getting over there for was that if you go back, where I was showing you the Essentials recordings, there are OptionVue video recordings. Ken Dole has done some nice back testing.
Yeah, can you show that? Might as well just go back to help. Or
let me do that again.
We're going to go live with Trade Monster in the next upgrade, hopefully, Rick.
Yeah. I'm really excited about it. Actually, Len and I have accounts with Trade Monster. We've been working on getting it all dialed in.
Yeah, I don't know what the timing is, but whenever the next upgrade is released, hopefully in the next 2 to 4 weeks is what we're prospectively looking at.
Right. We don't. Yeah, and that's all it is. Just making sure it's up and running. Fine. Oops. What did I go to? I went to our store. And just go to OptionVue.com. Okay, and we have a new updated store site too. I don't know if anybody knew that. Also, that's pretty new. You can
order everything online now, and just put your credit card in there and get an automatic response, and then we call you right away and send everything to you via email.
It's a lot nicer than it used to be. I think it was kind of difficult. Everything was kind of a la carte. We've got some nice packages you can look at in there, so that's I'm happy that that's there now. So basically, again, support, then down at the bottom, OptionVue recordings, and then essentials, and then Kendall. And here you're going to see Ken does the same thing. He'll go back to basics, just kind of starting up the if you're brand new, how to get everything set up. But these are the ones I'm talking about: BackTrader Fun, and then BackTrader Part 2. I steer people towards those that are interested in learning more about strategies and how to test out some, maybe some something they got out of a book or watched in another webcast somewhere. But this will really put anything out there to the test. There's no better way to do it than with back testing, and again, it's an extensive amount of data. A lot of people, I tell, can't believe that we've saved that much option pricing data going back to January 2001 and anything traded on the U.S. markets.
Well, nobody else has gotten that. Nobody. I mean, there's no brokerage. In fact, different companies are coming to us and saying, can we buy your back data? Because we can't find it anywhere. We've got 2 companies right now that are buying data from us, and we're putting package deals together for them because they can't find any options data, like this going back that far. So, and if you can, it's very, very expensive to find it or to buy it from somebody else, like the exchanges themselves. It's cost prohibitive, actually. So. Yeah, so you're right, James. This is very valuable information, and for a very cheap price, you can get it from us in BackTrader mode, which is what I like.
All right. So now you can see just now I just closed out BackTrader, so now I'm back in current time as of the close today. Do you want me to go ahead and pass the ball back to you, Karen? You can show
I thought you were going to do a little trade finder with the beginning strategies, and then I'll do the more advanced strategies, plus I wanted to show the probability calculator.
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to look at something that I've been curious about lately. Emerging markets, we'll click on a matrix for this. This is EEM, and I'm just going to click on a price chart here. This has been in the news a lot. You can see how it's been going from the upper left to the lower right here. Looks like we're almost to 44, and then now we're getting down to 38. And I was just looking at doing some spreads earlier this week on something here, if this trend's going to continue or not. But let's just say we were bearish this emerging markets iShares ETF here. Okay, so the key thing that I did here was I opened up a matrix for this. That's important because OptionVue needs to Trade Finder needs the options data. So you either have to update the asset file or open up the options chain and then go into Trade Finder. Okay, Trade Finder can only work with what you have defined in your options chain. Okay, so the first thing that to do would be to click on the Assets tab here, okay, and I'm going to click on the number 1 button. What that does is that pulls in whatever I'm highlighted on the quotes display. Okay, if I wanted to look at a whole group that I'm currently highlighted in, that's what this button stands for, and this button stands for everything that's in your quotes display. Okay, if you were to do something like with a group here, I'm going to click on this. You can see all of a sudden, bam, it's going to pull everything in. And I'm going to go ahead and close this real quick to show you. It's pulling in everything that I have in this little group right here. This is considered my indices group. Okay, so I'm going to click on Trade Finder again here. I don't want to do that group. I just want to do my one.
But you haven't updated all the option prices in that group anyway yet.
Correct. If I was going to do that, basically what you would do if you did want to do the whole group and had that big list in here, you would simply, and I'll click on that again, click on Net View, Update Asset Files. Looks just like this does over here. Remember that Net View, Update Asset Files. Click on the group here, and then hit Go. And it will, a little working window will pop here saying Updating Asset Files. And what it's doing is behind the scenes opening up an options chain for you. Okay.
Yeah, that's very important because a lot of people do not realize they're not getting quotes. They think, oh, if I just open up the program, then all the quotes are updated. Well, the stocks are on the quotes display page, but the options are not.
Right. We're not pulling those. Yeah, we're not pulling the option data until you open up a chain and ask for those symbols. So, that's a very, very important step. So I'm going to go ahead and get my EEM up here. I'm going to hit my targets. Okay, and I'm bearish, so I'm just going to say, 30. Let's say 35 looked good for me, and then you can put my projection date. It's going to be out in April. Okay. My strategies, you can select all of them or make sure they're all deselected. I'm just going to do some simple strategies here. I'm going to say I want to go long the options. Let's see here. We'll do some vertical credits and debits. And,
so just let me just say real quick. If you're projecting to April 15th, that's 3 days before April expiration. So that's great, because that way you're not in it all the way to the end of expiration.
Right. Yeah. TradeFinder very, 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 very sensitive to the parameters you put in here, and and I think that's good to start off with there. Just a couple strategies to look at, and then you have these ranking bases over here. So you can rank these based on expected return. This is best case return versus worst case return. A ratio of the expected return to the worst case return, probability profit. So there's a number of ways you can kind of go in here and discover what TradeFinder is going to pull up for you here. Let's just do best case return right now. I then have to click on goals. TradeFinder is always going to try to maximize the capital you're providing for it. Okay. It will also work if you have an existing position in and want to look at adding to that or kind of changing the position altogether. So TradeFinder can help you out with that as well. And then with filters, if, for instance, you were looking at doing, maybe you wanted to say, I only want to look at weekly options, well, then you would say the max days to buy and sell are going to be maybe 10 days, so that you're only looking out to next Friday's weekly options. So I always think it's important also in this section here to make sure there's open interest greater than or equal to 1. If something's out there and there's no open interest in there or volume out there, these are some parameters you can put in here to kind of weed out anything that's not going to be realistic for you to put on. And I'm just
do you want to put a volume that's greater than 1 or not?
Sure, yeah, I do that. I might have taken it out for some reason, but absolutely. I recommend 1s in these 2 at least if you're going to do something. If you're not going to do anything at all, just do these here. And then I'll hit go, and it's going to go ahead, and you can see that it works pretty quickly. I didn't select a whole bunch of strategies, and I didn't look at a ton of different assets. I'm just looking at EEM here, okay? And this is showing me my it's going to rank them based on my best case return, okay? And you can see my best case expected return, they're all the same right here. My probability of profit is only 34%, but my best case return is 3,700 based on my 2,500 investment. Okay, let's find out based on these strategies that I selected. So let's take a look, and what you can do is say, and this is so nice if you're brand new as well. Options, you say, I don't even know what a vertical spread looks like. Well, now you can highlight this. You can analyze it right away, and you're going to see that this is kind of the footprint that this trade's going to leave if you graphed it. Okay, this solid black line here is the $35 that I told was my target, and this solid line right here, which is represented by this 415 here, you can see that's the date I said that I want my max projection date, and this is where they intersect. So this is why it's giving me the best case, because this is the point in time and the price that I said this stock is going to go to.
I know there were a couple questions, but I can't see what they are now. They just popped up and then they went away. I think there was something about TradeFinder, a question, but can you see it at all, James?
No, I'm not seeing any.
Oh, I wonder where that went then.
Yeah. So the other thing you can do then, so we're looking at that vertical spread there. That's a debit spread. And let's say I wanted to look at, these are all debits here. Let's say what this is now is giving me a long, just going long a call here. actually long a put, sorry. It says going long 11 April 39 puts at 217. I want to analyze that one. Okay.
Oh, I've got the questions afterwards. I've got them now.
Sure. And then you can actually, once you look at this one, then you can go ahead and look at, it saves up to 5 for you, and it'll color code them for you, because now you can superimpose the two of them. Go down to my expiration lines here, and you can see the difference in that if this is really your target, this is why this debit spread is going to perform better than just going long a 39 put. And you can see the colors are coding these lines for us here. So another
I like that.
Yeah, another great way to learn, what the different strategies are going to look like, and you can put them over each other and say, hey, this one is definitely going to give me a better risk-reward profile than that one.
And this is a feature, again, I'm glad we're showing all these, because these are things that you really can't find the superimpose capability, where it's like you can overlay, it's unlimited actually. I could overlay 50 different trades if I wanted to, and take the number of lines, of timelines from 1 down to, from 5 down to 1, and nobody else has got this feature, so that you can superimpose and make a decision that you feel more comfortable with one strategy than another, and even though the downside risk might be more, you still like the upside potential, that kind of thing. So it's a great way to to make a decision. Can I read a couple of questions while we're waiting? Okay, because I can see. Okay, when Trade Finder is calculating, should incoming quotes be turned off? No, you don't have to turn anything off. It's calculating at, using the real-time data from the last refresh, which we were showing. James just showed that you go into NetView and then update asset files. So it's already been updated from that time frame, and that's why we don't have to turn anything off. Okay, John?
Yeah, Steve will sometimes do that, though. You'll see Steve do that, and the reason being is that if you're doing a large group, you might consider doing that. The reason and how you would do that is you just double-click up here in the upper right-hand corner, freeze, frame, suspend. Do that after you updated your asset files, because if you have a large group and you're trying to run this with, it's a pretty, Trade Finder is working hard to find these trades for you, and if you have data streaming in real time, so if you have a real-time feed, it's going to, there's a possibility of a bad ask or a bad bid or a way out of line thing to come through and kind of throw off the results a little bit. So if you're doing a large group and you have streaming real-time data, after you've updated your asset files, it's not going to hurt you remotely to go ahead and suspend the quote.
Well, then I'm glad we had that question, because it's kind of a yes and no answer.
Right.
It just depends on how many assets you're updating.
Exactly.
Another question that came through from Yaroslav is, how is Trade Finder and OptionVue connected? Can I trade Australian options in OptionVue? I don't know if you want to show the Trade Finder, because Trade Monster. Trade Monster is not yet connected, Yaroslav. I don't know if you heard it earlier, but we are in the process of making that connection right now with programming that we're doing. And I don't know if James wants to show where that would be. Do you want to show him where you would set it up in the info?
Did he say trade? He did mention Trade Monster?
Trade Monster, yeah.
Okay,
Trade Monster. How is Trade Monster and OptionVue connected?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be, you don't even have to open up Trade Monster, your Trade Monster account, once the accounts are synced up. So basically what you would do is you would click on the info button, and it's going to say configure the trade button. Okay, basically I say I want this trade button to send my orders directly to Trade Monster. You would put your account ID in there, your username and your password. I check that so that it just a prompt comes up, says you're placing an order with Trade Monster. Now, are you sure you want to do this? And you hit OK. So basically what this is doing is it's going to tie into Trade Monster, where it's going to grab your transaction history. You would, of course, have a account like I do here that says Trade Monster. Okay, so I have an account that has Trade Monster. Once I click on, if I went and did that right now, it's gonna, a little wheel's gonna spin, and it's gonna let me know that my connection to Trade Monster is good. I can then execute orders. It goes and grabs your account history, any transaction history. So where you're in sync, it's like a tunnel that OptionVue connects right to the servers over at Trade Monster. So it's gonna be full integration. Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other question he had is, can I trade Australian options in OptionVue? Do you want to answer that, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Yeah, as far as I know, we at this moment do not have Australian options coming into OptionVue. We used to, and we're working on finding another vendor so that we can distribute Australian options data. And, you know, we had it before, but we don't have it currently. So that's that answer. And then the other question is, when you use Trade Finder, if you have a position that's going bad or has gone bad and you wanted to fix it somehow, would you use Trade Finder to try and, quote, fix it? And yes, you could. Yes, in fact, that's what James was showing earlier there, Rick. Do you want to show that screen again with Trade Finder?
I'll show it again. Yeah, I think it would be... currently, it'd be difficult to find it. I don't have a trade set up for that.
There it is.
To be able to show that right now.
Yeah, you have to have an existing position already. First of all, obviously.
And you have it in, and you just click on this, and if it doesn't find anything for you, it's going to say that right down here. No profitable recommendations, what it'll say. If it doesn't find anything, it might find, you know, if you're long a call or short a call or something like that, or you have a vertical on, you know, it might try to go ahead and put another vertical on, you know, above or below where you're at. It's definitely going to find some trades for you to try to turn that trade around.
The only thing is, though, you have to put in more capital than just the original amount. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to recommend a bunch of new positions if it ran out of capital.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to remember to put a larger capital provided number in there, okay? Hello?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I got the connection back there. I couldn't hear you for a second.
Oh. So yeah, that's did you want to show some Trade Finder, Karen, or do you want to show a little bit of the probability calculator and then
Yeah, I think we better round this out here and kind of, because we are kind of coming up on our hour. The only thing I was going to show with probability calculator is to put the odds in your favor by using the probability calculator before you go into Trade Finder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was going to show. So what if you want to just show it on EEM, and then that would complete our talk. I think that would be fine.
Yeah, if there's any other questions, go ahead and type those in there while I'm showing this to you guys. But so we're going to pull up the probability calculator. Notice I'm in the EEM matrix here. So by opening the probability calculator, once I was in here, it grabbed the current price, volatility. It's saving the date that I put in Trade Finder. If you notice that right there, April 15th. Okay.
Yeah, that was great. It automatically retained all the settings.
Right. And now I only have one target here. But let's just say I had another target of I don't know, let's say 40 was my, actually I want to go the other way. Let's say 33 was my next target on the downside. Okay, so these are just targets. These are the deviations that aren't going to change no matter what targets I put in. The standard deviations are based on this information I provided up here. Okay, time is a big factor. The more time you have, the more larger the standard deviations are going to be because you're giving the underlying more time to move. So you'll see this goes out to 3 standard deviations to the downside here and to the upside. And then I put my targets in, and then it's going to give you probabilities, and this is why it's a more advanced probability calculator than you'll find in a lot of places, because you know, a lot of times you'll find what's the probability of it finishing above or below this. Well, this one gives you the probability of it ever touching these targets. And that's
that's what I like.
That's a big factor because, I mean, if you had targets set up maybe, or, you know, say they were legs on a condor or wings on a butterfly or whatever you want to do, you know, you would be making adjustments or getting out of these positions if it ever touched this, not whether it finished above or below. You know, you'd have to make an adjustment if you ever got to these points, and it's a good, you know, way to kind of help you structure your trades if you're challenging it to, you know, to move above or within, you know, certain standard deviations.
Well, what I see here, James, is that the highest number that's in one of those boxes is on the right, and it says probability of finishing above the highest target. So what that's telling me is that the likelihood between now and April 15th, with the current statistical volatility of 17%, the likelihood of EEM going above 35 is actually 86.5%.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you know, maybe we're looking at, from a probability-only standpoint, the fact that EEM has some upside room here to grow and to improve and you know, go up a little bit. That's what that's telling us.
Yeah, and the reason behind that is because if you look at the targets I have in here, the current price is 38. My first target is outside of the first standard deviation.
That's
okay,
right.
So these targets are way out here. So if you look at this, just look at this whole thing as like a big bell curve here. And my targets are out here. So basically, you know, the line comes right here, which is about 80% of it as to the upside, and the other 20% roughly is down here, 15% is down here.
That's right.
Okay, some kind of a different, just a way to look at how it's making these, coming up with these percentages.
Well, what if statistical were 25%? How would that change everything? Can we just type that in and see what the numbers, how they would change?
Sure. So if we were to say statistical volatility were to increase, so basically, you know, the underlying movement is going to increase, you're going to see these numbers, these deviations get wider, because that means the underlying is moving more. So now
that probability of finishing above 35 is only 77.5% as opposed to 86.5%.
Correct. And if we look at a price chart here, you can see that, you know, we've had some pretty decent sized moves lately. So what this wants me to believe, and I can, let me click on this volatility chart down here, and I just pulled up a volatility chart, and now I'm pulling up the statistical volatility averages. So it looks like the last 3, 6, 10 weeks, looks like, you know, we've been in the 15 range. So we are actually in the lower range of
statistical volatility.
Over the past 6 years, yeah. But let's just see what this would look like if it was 15. It'd be even higher on likelihood if this thing were to calm down.
It was 17 to start with, yeah.
Yeah. So the way these markets have been lately, I wouldn't expect volatility to go to be dropping. It'd be more likely to be moving up as well. So yeah, we could go on and on and on with this stuff for sure. I was going to check and see if there's any questions.
Okay, I'll take a look here. Let's see. What about options on German stocks, Mr. Zumsteg? No, we do not offer docs or anything like that at the moment. We would love to have European options, although for the most part, the liquidity is, like you said, maybe only in the docs, or the London, the LIFE. There's not a whole lot of liquidity in too many option markets in Europe right now. So at this time, we do not offer any analysis with German stocks, although now I have had customers that can manually set up, they are willing to manually set up a file, and that can be done in OptionVue, defining the strikes and the symbols and the multipliers, and then exporting, or rather importing data in from an outside source into OptionVue and beginning to do analysis. It's a little bit more cumbersome, but it actually can be done. I guess that was the only other question. Wait a minute, there's one more. Does the WebEx allow for marking the mouse pointer? Oh, gee. I mean, color it or make it bigger. This little wiggly mouse pointer is really hard to follow.
Yeah, we'll work on that for next time, Rudolph. Thanks for the tip on that. That's a good idea. I know that, the way we're looking at it, and we also want to be able to make the screens bigger as well. I'm not sure if it's taking up your whole desktop, so we'll work on that. That's something we know needs to be addressed. But thanks for that point. We'll try to do that next time.
And let's see. Yeah, when you open OptionVue today, the first thing is no data. What do you do to get the data? I hope we've answered that question. The only other thing I wanted to show is if you could go to the globe, James, and show how to update in batch mode there as well as in the NetView area, because that's kind of fun. I like to use that part of it. And here you see it's in batch mode, and all the asset files can be updated the same exact way as if it was in NetView when James showed going to the word NetView earlier. This is the exact same type of mode, except you can just click on the green ball to update a bunch of asset files.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way. You can even set it up to do it every day at a certain time for you if you wanted to just make sure you're creating background, asset files with data in them. It's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, that's probably the key point is get the data into the software, and then you can start doing all kinds of analysis, what ifing, and then the record keeper gets updated, all the reports then would be updated, and especially the performance graph, because that needs to be updated every day too, so that stays up to date with the point, every point, the representation of how much money you've made or lost. So I think that's it for the moment, unless you've got something else, James, that you wanted to talk about.
No, we're in good shape. We went the full hour here, and we're always available. You can email James at OptionVue.com or Karen at OptionVue.com, and we're happy to do walkthroughs or answer any questions anytime.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you like the tag team effect. And if you do, let us know, and then we can work on doing another one. Okay? Uh-oh. All right. Well, we're done for today, so we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. We're still recording.